Welcome in. We appreciate everyone that is here at Rudy's. Very nice crowd tonight. Those of you watching the Baylor Athletics YouTube stream, live stream, or those of you listening on our flagship station in Waco. And folks, join me in welcoming our first guest this evening, the GOAT, the head coach for Baylor Acrobatics and Tumbling. Felecia Mulkey is with us here at Rudy's.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me.
Hey, very nice to have you here. I would normally not refer to anyone, especially a woman, as a GOAT,
yeah.
But you know what I'm saying, right?
Well, you have said this before, so. Uh-oh. Can they hear me?
We got you.
No. You've called me this quite a bit. It doesn't offend me.
Yeah. Good. Let's get that straight between us. So, but, of course, you know, GOAT, greatest of all time, and there's no question that's what you are in your sport of acrobatics and tumbling.
Well, thank you.
What do y'all do? What do you do in the fall?
So in the fall, we bring in, we recruit from all of these different recruiting bases. So in the fall, we're training. We start our 20-hour allowable hours about mid to end of September, and we bring them all to the same playing field. So the acrobatic gymnasts are, figuring out what the nuances of this sport are, the artistic gymnasts, the cheerleaders. We have high-level cheerleaders that come in. So the fall is really about bringing them to the same playing field, getting accustomed to a non-spring-loaded floor. So if you ever come and see them tumble and watch how high they can get and the crazy feats of strength they can do, there are no springs under their feet.
Yeah.
It's just 2 inches of foam and on a carpet-bonded mat. So the fall is more about just getting everybody acclimated to that. We spend a lot of time in the weight room. That's where they are. They would be here. I told them I just left practice a few minutes ago, and I was like, you guys, I have the coaches show, and collective awe. They were angry. Yeah,
they wouldn't be here.
Yeah, they were. So they'll be here next time because they lift on Wednesdays, but I think it's usually on Thursdays in the spring, right?
Correct.
Oh yeah, no, they want the dates.
Good.
So because they'll come out. But yeah, the fall is a lot of injury prevention. They're in the weight room just getting stronger, getting ready to go.
Good. They always ask such good questions of you when they're here.
Yes,
so.
They're probably thinking of them right now to bring in the spring.
Working on it.
Yeah.
True. What I think of you and your sport in the fall is I think you're in the lab and you're just, kind of creating things that you're going to unveil when you get back on the mats in the spring.
Yeah.
There's some of that too, isn't there?
There is a little bit. As a matter of fact, I was talking to a couple of my athletes that will specialize in acro. We have 8 or 9 regular season meets. We may have 9 because we have 5 home. No.
Wow.
We have 8, I think. Oh gosh, I'm terrible. I think 8 regular season meets because we have 5 at home. And they were like, I think we're just going to do something different every meet. I think we're going to do, because they have all of these new skills and things that they want to showcase. So I'm excited for this team, and I'm excited about the year.
That's cool. And a lot of the new things, obviously you as the coaches, you make suggestions, you have ideas, but some of them come from your student athletes,
They
right?
absolutely do. It's fun. I think gives them ownership over it, and we have this process where if there is something new that hasn't been competed in the sport yet, and we're submitting several new things that we haven't seen yet that you guys are going to be excited about. But you send it into a scoring committee before December the 2nd, and the scoring committee evaluates it, tells you what the start value would be, and then sends it back. So it actually then gets added into the system. So we've added things into the system each year. It's been fun.
Have they ever rejected anything that you sent in?
Nope. Everything we've sent in has been a 10 start value.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So sometimes things are rejected, or sometimes the scoring committee will look at it, and there's a video, there's a rationale, et cetera, and they'll go, this doesn't score a 10, the risk isn't there, the difficulty's not there. It'll come back as a 9-8 start value and whatnot. We haven't experienced that yet.
Gotcha.
So because we have, we've been doing the Baylor boomerang and all of those things. So
well, so many things that you have brought to the sport. Are there other schools that do the same thing, or is all the new things coming from Baylor?
No, it's happening now. I think we might see every once in a while it's somebody else. But what's happening, we really started reaching into the acrobatic gymnastics background about 5 years ago, and that has changed our sport. Jordan Grendler, who's a senior on our team right now, she has changed our sport. We had to change the scoring system because of her. So as it should be, schools are following suit. And so now you see other schools recruiting from that acrobatic gymnastics piece and kind of following our lead, which is okay. Baylor's been the standard for a long time. With or without me, Baylor has set the standard in the way that they just do things. So we're going to keep doing that. Our goal is I've told you this before, but now we're at, I think, 55 schools about. Wow. So I want to win when we're at 100. We can go ahead and put that out there. Because one day we were at like 20-something. I was like, John, we want to win where there's 50. And now we're at 55. So let's just go ahead and say 100.
You're past 50.
Yeah.
Now it's 100.
Yes. Next year we'll be talking about 100.
Well, you told me you checked, and there's 2 new schools that you just found out about that are adding.
So I got a phone call. I'm the director of expansion for the National Collegiate Acrobatics and Tumbling Association. I just volunteer for that. Baylor pays the bills. I'm loudmouth, so they let me volunteer. So I talk to athletic directors across the country about adding the sport and really try to push it. And so been working on this one Division I school up in New York. And I got the call last Friday from their assistant athletic director, and they will be announcing this Friday.
Oh,
so
nice.
you will hear about them, and that will be our 12th Division I school, which we're super excited about. And then there's actually another Division II school very close to that Division I school, and I talked to their athletic director on Monday. And they're going to hire and be rolling by December and get their coach on campus in the spring and start recruiting. Yeah. Now, they won't compete in the spring, but they'll use that semester to recruit. So, it's the momentum's crazy. And, there was a little bit of a pause, I think, as everything that's going on with the NCAA and revenue sharing and all the things that we hear, but we kind of really don't know what's going on. I don't know who knows maybe Mac knows what's going on. Yeah. But there was a pause with the bigger schools like, we want to do this, but let's see what's happening. But you're seeing the Division I that potentially are in the Power 4 are really jumping on board. There's a lot of interest. So some here in Texas, some in the Southeast. Ooh. So the next time I talk to you, I hope I'll have a whole bunch of updates.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
What is your pitch or to an AD of a school that might be interested in adding, or more, what are the questions they ask you?
Well, my pitch is usually, because it's such a win-win for everyone, and so I always go in and I say up front, I'm not going to apologize for my passion, and then I explain to them what my passion is about the sport. And you never should apologize for your passion. No one should ever do that. But I always like to take the elephant out of the corner and I say it, and so they know where I'm coming from. And I explain, like, this is a sport that meets a need that is not there. And every school that adds the sport is 40 new opportunities for women to compete at the collegiate level and change their lives and get a degree and do all of these things and live out their dreams. On the other end, the athletic director can get a sport with a large roster size that's fan friendly, that's TV friendly, that becomes one of the favorite sports on campus. That happens all over the country, where A&T is so well attended at all of our schools. And so I'm talking to them about my passion. I get them excited, and then I'll talk the numbers to them. And it's an affordable sport. It makes sense. The recruiting base is huge. They're going to bring in people from this is going to be a unique student population. These aren't people on your campus that are already there. These are going to be people that maybe you're bringing in from outside of your campus. And so some schools are tuition revenue driven. And so they do that through their, athletic department. Our sport speaks to tuition revenue, So there's just so many different ways to kind of approach it, but I just always approach it with the truth at the beginning. This is the best thing since sliced bread, and you need to add it. And so let me tell you how to do it. And then we come alongside, I work with these ADs then through the implementation process, and was actually just texting with one a second ago about I have a database of about 250 coaches who want to be coaches, and so as they start to add, we put their coaching job out, and we help them build candidate pools. So I'm kind of like an unpaid consultant.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, but it's all for the betterment. Like, every school that adds is changing lives, so we just got to keep growing.
That's terrific. You do such a great job with the Baylor program, but then growing and promoting the sport and all of that, and trying to make it feasible for schools to add that. That is so neat. Well, and I would think for a school trying to add the sport, it's not a huge investment equipment-wise. You don't have to build a stadium or anything like that. Get some mats and some training equipment, and that might be something ADs would
because, a lot of sports, you have to have a new facility to add the sport. And with our sport, you could typically use existing facilities for practice and for competition. If you have a basketball arena, you're set. You got a volleyball arena, you're set for competition.
You've got your own arena now, you in volleyball. That is nice. Let's talk about that when we come back.
Okay. But what's so amazing about it is, for years we were at Mars McLean Gym in the middle of campus, which we were grateful for, the best campus partners that we shared the facility with, but we were really pigeonholed into a 2.5-hour practice block. So if you had class during that time, there was really nothing you could do. You missed practice and couldn't have open gym, whatnot. So now what used to be the men's basketball practice facility is now basically first of its kind collegiate acrobatics and tumbling training facility.
Wow.
With not just, and I think at the beginning people really thought we were just going to throw some mats down and that was going to be what it was. No, we did the most with the least. Now we actually have training equipment so that we can train, safely and do drills, and you just have to come by and see it to understand it. And I think for the longest time I kept trying to explain, no, we're not going to move these mats. Like these are permanent fixtures here. A tumble trampoline. There's all of these tumble track, and it has made the biggest difference. I think the coolest thing was the first week I offered open gym, and never in the history of our sport at Baylor could we have open gym where the athletes could just come in and train on their own. I said, I'm going to text you guys. I'm going to send a Google form. You can sign up. Because at the beginning, I made them sign up for everything because I'm being too protective of them. And within a minute of me putting the Google form out, 23 of the 53 had signed up. And by the next day, everybody but 5 people came in from open gym. It hasn't really slowed down since practices have started. And those are open gym. We really can't. We can't coach.
Right.
We have a safety exception, so we can be there if we need to, if they're tumbling. But they will, they'll come in. We have certain things set up that they can work on, and they come in on their own. They were texting me, and so now I've loosened up a little bit. This is my mama heart talking. I got to make sure. So I've set some parameters of times that I will allow them to be in there, and they have to text me on their way in. So I got text all weekend that they were a few going in here and there, and they're never allowed to go in alone. They have to video everything, that kind of thing. But it's just really cool for them to be able to have that space and be able to do that. And I was thinking, I'm like, what did we do before? And we really just learned and practiced everything in that 2.5 hour time span.
You didn't have another option,
and we made it work. And we are so much farther along on October the 30th? It's the 30th today.
Today's the 30th.
We have kind of a little, a little, what's it called? A plan, of each year, what we're doing each day of practice, and we can look back and see where we were. We are so much farther along on October the 30th this year than we've ever been.
Wow.
I cannot believe how far along we are. And it's simply because there's more time, there's more space, and just more equipment to be able to train appropriately. So I'm excited for them. And we came in the very first day, and it was very cool to let them see it for the first time. It was like Santa Claus. Like, it was my opportunity to play Santa Claus. I only have wiener dogs. I don't have children. And I have 53 children that are on my team, right? So I only have dogs. So this was my opportunity to play Santa Claus. And it wasn't even finished. It was more of, let's get it functional. And then after this season, they're going to really, do phase 2 and finish it up. The looks on their faces. They were like, oh my gosh, this ran in like small children and started jumping on things. And it was so cute. And we agreed that day because we realized how blessed we are. We were like grateful, not hateful. Like, moving forward, we will not forget where we came from. We will always remember that not every team has this, and we haven't always had this. So we're trying to, I think it'd be really easy to lose sight of that if you allow it. But we ask, it's one of the things we harp on every day, is that we are lucky to be here. We don't have to be here. We get to be here. So we're going to keep doing that, John. And
That's
when
great.
It stops, I'm out of here to my wiener dog farm. But, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, that is so great. And all the other programs in the country say, oh, great, Baylor's going to be better now because they've got all these their own practice gym and everything. A new office space.
Oh, yeah.
That is nice, too. But just the versatility of schedule that you have now, that's a huge thing, isn't it?
It really is. And so we have these large team practices, and that's what we've always had. And so we talked about, let's be okay with change because we're going to have these smaller practices. So tomorrow, Thursday, there will be someone training in the gym all day in small groups, either single, as a private, or small groups all day. And it's my favorite day because the lights we overlook the gym. The lights are on. There's so much energy coming. I wish we could do that every day. But they're not in there as a team. Tomorrow they'll be in there just periodically throughout the day, just focusing on things that they need specifically with one coach. So no more than 2 or 3 athletes to one coach down there tomorrow.
Wow.
And you don't get to look at that. We did not get to look at that detail that way before.
That is so great. Congratulations on
Thank you.
that.
We're very
good.
excited.
All right, Farrell Center, the home of Baylor Acrobatics and Tumbling and volleyball. Volleyball is actually playing
game,
right now. About 10 minutes they're going to start. Here at Rudy's, one of the TVs is on, and it's a football game, a college game right now. Looks like Jacksonville State and Liberty. Folks, did you realize Liberty had their first loss of the year last week? Who'd they lose to? Kennesaw State. What is Fee's alma mater? Kennesaw State.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Go
How
Owls.
great is that?
Go Owls.
What a
No.
huge win.
It was. I'm so excited for them. So when I was there, we did not have football. We had basketball, and we transitioned to Division I in my last couple of years there. I was part of the administration there and got to transition. So it was so much fun to kind of see this happening. And then I left and went to Oregon. And a couple of years later, I guess 2013 is when they started football, and I went to Oregon in 2008. But Brian Bohannon is the coach. I don't know him. I do have a autographed football helmet from him that I got when I was down for the Hall of Fame. And he was, I remember when they hired him, they brought in Vince Dooley, legendary football coach in Georgia, to help make the hire. And Brian actually played, I think, wide receiver, if I'm not mistaken, at UGA at one point.
Wow.
And so this was his first job. And I've been following him along. He seems like a good, I judge people if they're good humans or not. He seems like a really good human.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for him. And interesting, so I didn't get to watch the Kennesaw Liberty game. I try to watch when I can because it's so cool to see your alma mater that hasn't always been there, on TV. So I try to watch when I can. I watched that first FBS game this year. Yikes. So I try, but you still, you got, there's that transition year. Do you know, after they won, I went back and read all the articles and was trying to I was so sad that I missed it. And do you know that in that game, Kennesaw was only the second team to hold Liberty to like a 180 rushing yards. Wow. Do you know who the only other team was? Oregon, the number one team in the country.
Is that right?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to get home and get to a game. I think their Hall of Fame induction, I always get invited back, was last weekend, but I got to get back to see it. But it's really, I'm excited for them, and I'm excited to watch them keep climbing.
Yeah. You got any old Kennesaw State gear in your closet?
I do.
I bet you do.
Yeah, I got some Kennesaw State gear.
You should be wearing that proudly right now. That is cool. That's a great accomplishment. It was their first ever win over an FBS school, is that right?
Yes, this is their first year, like, FBS. I think they're, Conference USA now? I may have screwed that up. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But anyway, this was their first year FBS.
Well, they beat Liberty.
I know,
Liberty,
it was very
their
cool.
First and only loss of the year. Continuing with Coach Felecia Mulkey, Baylor Acrobatics and Tumbling. We talked about what you're doing in the fall. You don't have any outside competitions in the fall,
We do
you?
not. We're not. I think that's not in our NCAA rule.
Gotcha.
We're not allowed to have fall competition.
Because like baseball and softball, they play a fall schedule, just scrimmages
Yep.
against other schools, but you don't do that.
We don't do it. I think it was a safety thing because
Yeah.
we are bringing everybody to this non-spring loaded floor and kind of using the fall to get ready. So, yeah, I'm okay with hanging out until the spring.
Right.
Well, not
In the
hanging
lab.
out, but, in the lab.
You're in the lab, yeah, doing some work in the lab. We got some good questions from the audience. You ready? Mm-hmm. Nathan Eldridge asks, you've been so impressively dominant for so long. How do you avoid getting complacent?
Well, thank you. First of all, I think, I don't know, I just always think, what's next? What can we do next? What can we do bigger and better? And kind of focus a little bit more, less about winning the trophies and more about just like the journey of the team and the journey of the human on the team, and see how far we can get. And I mean, I'm the most competitive person. I feel like I compete with integrity, but I will race you all to the bathroom and back right now. So I am the most competitive person you'll meet. So I think that helps to not be complacent. And plus, it's just fun. I think for me, when you're coaching, I think coaches get a lot of flack sometimes, but in reality, we care about our athletes and we don't want to let them down. So for me, I will not allow myself to get complacent because every team that comes in, they're working their tails off for me and they want so much, and so I don't want to let them down. So for me, we're kind of doing it for them, right? You know, I'm going to get to do it year after year, and they're not going to. They're going to graduate. So that's probably my number one driving factor is them.
Terrific. I can't see you ever being complacent.
Yeah, I'm a little
I don't
competitive.
see that. Right. Very good. Nathan, good question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Georgia Gall, Georgia right there.
Hi, Georgia.
That may be a a future A&T girl. She asked, how much do you change the routines year to year? And look at Georgia's handwriting. Isn't that nice?
Beautiful. Yes. We do change them. I worry sometimes that you can't tell that we're changing them because some of the skills, like in our big routines, are the same. But every year we evaluate what the dynamic is on the team. Do we have these bases that can do hand-to-hand balances, or can they do hand-to-foot balances? What tumbling passes do we have? We really build it around what we have and make everybody come to our playing field, not us go to them. Mm-hmm. So we change it quite a bit, and we even change it throughout the year. So you may come in and see our 7-element acro, on meet 1, and by meet 4 it's completely different. It's fun for the athletes to be able to do that and be able to change it around. So yeah, that's a great question.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you, Georgia. Good job. Question from Roy right here front and center. With the new ruling coming down, how does that affect the size of your team? I guess roster size.
Yeah. It actually doesn't affect our size. We are already a large roster sport, and with the new things they're putting out, it sounds like our cap would be large anyway. We have about 53 on our team and projected to have 52 next year. And so that is within our roster cap currently. So really doesn't affect us as much as it does some other sports. I know some sports had to go down, in their roster and whatnot. And I do not envy that position because you love these kids. Like, you don't want to let them go. So, but yeah, we're in really good shape. And 53 is a lot. It's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot of personality and a lot of people to manage. So I think I'll stick around that number.
All right, very good. There you go,
Yeah,
Roy.
thanks,
There's your
Roy.
answer there. All right, thank you for being here tonight.
Sure.
Folks will notice you here in the restaurant, or those of you watching, you don't have on a Baylor branded shirt, but that's intentional.
Yes.
Right?
I am here to remind you and am in support of blackouts for the football game on Saturday against TCU. I also voted today, so that's on there. So I'd like to see you
sticker.
all blacked out at the game. It's going to be amazing. So yes, I thought I would come with a little subliminal message to everyone.
I love it.
Yes.
That'll be great.
Yes.
You'll be there.
Yes, I'll be there.
Yep. All right. Very good. Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for being with us. We'll have you back in the spring. We're excited about another season.
You will have me and the team here in the spring, so
That'll be a
they
treat.
won't miss it.
For sure. Thank you. Felecia Mulkey,
you.
Baylor Acrobatics and Tumbling head coach, the GOAT.